Greetings. This is Arvette McLean with Speak, The Universe Listens. New ways to view age-old challenges. Change your thoughts, change your life. Step into the bigness of you.
So y'all, the other night I was up thinking about a time in my life where I remember I was applying for jobs, but I wouldn't, like there were certain jobs that would be coming across my desk that I wouldn't apply to. And I could never really figure out why. And it wasn't until the other night that I was thinking, I was like, I think I wasn't applying because I was afraid I would get the job and then have to make a decision. And it led me to this topic of being afraid of new beginnings. Because when I think deeper about it, I think it was an incredible opportunity. It was relocation and things like that. So I immediately thought about all the bad before I even gave myself a chance to even apply. And what I think is backwards and interesting. So I guess I just want to open up to y'all. Y'all ever been afraid of a new beginning?
Multiple times. Multiples. I think my biggest thing with like just new beginnings was the fear. Fear of starting over, fear of not knowing how things are going to play out, fear of leaving my comfort zone. So those things played a big part in the new beginnings for me, like starting my new beginnings, let me say. But then after I overcome those three things and just got in the state of mind of realizing like this is something new. And anything that's new is for the betterment of you. So I'm gonna leave the comfort zone to get out of my comfort zone, which is something, if I wanna grow, that's one of the biggest things that you gotta do. You gotta be comfortable with being uncomfortable. So numerous of times.
Yeah, the funny thing about drastic changes and like taking the leap and making those changes is a lot of times most of us have to wait till things get to where we don't want it to be, like to where we don't like it. Yeah. And I remember for me, when I left a job before, I remember being so frustrated with the job. Then I remember we had a meeting on a Monday. We had a team meeting, and I was just in that meeting like, nah, I can't. I ain't doing this no more. Tuesday and Wednesday, I called out. Thursday, I came in there and put my 2-week notice in. And like it had to get to that point for me to say, I'm ready for a change. Like, and a lot of times we rob ourselves of a lot of things by waiting until it gets to where we vibrating extremely low and we like I just can't do this no more, Instead of, vibrating high at all times and those possibilities from vibrating that way. Like we wait till we get to rock bottom or to a low.
Yeah, just thinking about what you were saying, Rodney. I had it as to where instead of me keep getting that nudge as to where it's like you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, just making the change because you want to make the change, and there's nothing drastic that's forcing you to put yourself in that space as to where it's like, dang, all right, now I had enough, let's make the change. Versus like when you decide, hey, you know what, I appreciate where I'm at, I just want to make a change for myself. So I had that happen to me on both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, I think most recently I've been able to leave situations with, like you just spoke about, the appreciation aspect of it. I appreciate where I was at in this place, and I think I'm just ready for a change. But it's the next step after that. So like the leaving, I'm fine with now. It's all right, I'm ready for a change. And now I'm walking into this change like, I don't know if I'm ready for you, dog. Like, maybe let's slow this down some. So I think I find myself definitely still sometimes afraid of new beginnings. Like, what causes like the fear for me is not really a fear. It's like a uncomfort. I start thinking about all the things that would change around me that aren't even real. So that's the funniest part about it. Oh, I'll go, yeah, well, you know, if I accept that job, then I don't get to talk to such and such anymore, or, you know, we have such a good relationship, I don't want to lose that, or I don't see my family as much. But again, those are all possibilities that I'm creating before one step is taken. Like, and I'm just putting my energy there. So I guess what I learned that night was, well, let's switch our mindset. First of all, we don't have to be afraid of new beginnings, or we don't have to think that it's going to be all bad. I think a lot of times whenever we think about like a drastic change, we only think about the drastic parts that are changing, and not like the little everyday things that we can still get to continue and do and love.
You know the funny thing about like starting something new, like, all right, for instance, starting a job, your first day, how long does it feel like a first day, or feel like you knew? It don't be that long. Like after a week, it's like, all right, you here, you know. So it's like we be so worried about the beginning of the next thing and how that's gonna be and how that's gonna shape life or whatever. But it's like soon it ain't gonna be the first day no more, or it ain't gonna be the first week no more. It's just gonna be normal too.
Yeah.
I think in the past I did it two different ways. So one is, I think I was just very courageous because I would just be so afraid of everything. So I was just like, and then just run in, you know. It was just like pure, just courage, you know. And then the other thing I know that I always did is I would do so much research on a thing. So it doesn't matter what it is. I'll just be researching it and researching it and researching it and researching it. And so I will have researched it so much that it's like now I'm the expert on this new thing. Right. And so I walk into the situation like, oh, y'all ain't know such and such. Like, how do you ain't know? Even I know it is or whatever. But, and it doesn't matter. Like, you know, when I first started running, then I got every running magazine. I read every possible thing there was to read on the internet about running. Anytime I see people running, I'm looking, you know, or when I'm trying to swim for the first time, I'm looking at, you know, people's form online. Right. I'm reading about swimming. You know, whatever the new thing is for me, I just like get into it before I've ever actually done it. So that's my old way of going about new beginnings.
Okay. You made me think about like I'm no mechanic, but I started looking at YouTube to fix my car, right? So I started doing a few things off of YouTube and doing it for myself for my car. Then all of a sudden, you know, people start having problems with their car. Yeah, it's your alternator. Oh yeah, that's your start. I'm the expert now. Like I know what I'm talking about. You know.
And I used to Stephen say something. It's like Stephen is kind of like the master of buzzwords, you know, like sick and tired, being sick and tired, or being comfortable, being uncomfortable, or whatever. And the being comfortable with being uncomfortable, I think that was me, in the sense of I always felt like, well, I'm already miserable, so how much more, you know, it's not going to be for so much more miserable. So I was, you know, in that or whatever. And so, you know, all of that again is third dimensional reality. And we believe in that. And it, you know, it gets us through, like being comfortable, being uncomfortable, or getting so sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like all of that works. It's just the hard way of going about things or whatever. And so I think with fear, well, first of all, I'll say how I now deal with fear is I'll notice it, I'll register the fear, but then I'll start sending my love to the thing. And so both emotions don't exist simultaneously. So if I'm loving it, I'm no longer feeling afraid of it. So, and this is my answer for everything. And it's really going into a place like tapping into your higher self, going to that space where we're all connected. All things are connected. I'm a part of you, so why am I afraid of you? I'm a part of this thing, so why am I afraid of it? And so going to that space, loving it, appreciating it, you know, you can have whatever, I guess, emotion that you want to have, but the higher the vibration, the better. And so love is one of the highest vibrations you can have. Appreciation is one of the highest vibrations. You can manufacture the feeling of excitement about things or whatever, but you know, I typically go to love and I'll just start sending out highest loving energy to whatever that thing is. And I feel like when you're afraid or any emotion that doesn't feel good in your body, it's because you are not aligned with your highest self. And so the key is just to get in line. And you can easily get in line by just raising your vibration. Like it's nothing hard about it. It's the hard part is remembering to do it. Remembering to, in this moment, while I'm feeling fear, let me love this thing. And so a lot of times we're looking at the conditions of stuff. Like this looks like a bad situation, or this looks like a scary situation, or this looks like whatever. But if we can stop being so conditioned on what our eyes see and just be unconditional, unconditionally loving everything around us, then that changes the thing in an instant. So it's just about reminding yourself, like when you feel that fear, send it love.
Yeah, that's very true.
And when you feel that fear, start appreciating. When you feel that fear, see yourself as your biggest self. Whatever it takes for you to connect, for you to align, just get into that alignment. And you can get into alignment like this.
I think I had, like at my current job now, and my fear that I do have now, and it's like back and forth, but I'm working on it, is when I have to teach somebody that's older than me and knows way more than me, I have to show them something, and they're standing over top of me, and then sometimes the fear comes in because it's like, all right, Steve, don't mess up, because you know they watching, or they may already know, you know, but I have to show them something that I feel like they already know. So I feel like I'm not worthy enough to show this person their job. I'm like, you know your job better than better than I do. But when I feel that, I sort of get myself in the state of like what you were saying. Whatever I'm showing them, I'm sending my focus and my love to. Let's just say I'm fixing this AC. I'm putting all my focus and love into it, and it's like when I'm doing that, the fear fades away, and then what I think that this person is like judging me, or you know, I'm not showing them something valuable. They actually are learning something valuable. So all of that fear that I had going into it, it faded away. So,
and it made me, what you said made me think about the saying, like, wherever we go, you gotta take you with you. And so if I'm somewhere or in a situation where that has me vibrating low, it's gonna be another situation that I'm gonna vibrate low as well. You know, because I have to take me with me, and I'm, you know, so it's like we gotta put our focus on vibrating high in any situation, because we always gotta take us with us.
Exactly.
And I've always loved that saying, and it didn't start clicking for me until like the last few years of like taking me with me. I was like, oh, like I always understood like no matter where I go, however I'm feeling is how I'm feeling. But the other, like it was a couple years ago, it clicked on me like, oh, that means I should change how I'm feeling. Like I should create like a better feeling for myself, so that way I can be in the places I want to be. Because when I think about it, like even in its grand, like in its very general state, like, all right, I don't want to be here in Virginia, so I'm gonna go to Cancun. But if I'm still miserable, I'm still miserable. And so that saying made me click and remember, like, oh, I need to really appreciate and feel everything like that's happening for me. So that way, when I'm in the great places, I also feel that way. Because who wants to be on a vacation not feeling like a vacation?
And the truth is, you can leave from a situation where you're miserable and let's say go to Cancun and feel great while you're in Cancun, but the issue is you still have to come back home.
Right.
And so when you're in Cancun, you've released all the resistance and all that stuff that you were focusing on at home. You're now focusing on the water, the beautiful people, the delicious food. Your focus has changed. And that's really the only thing that really has changed, is where you're putting your attention. And so you could easily, when you get home, change where you're putting your attention. But sometimes, like, I know it can be hard to change because, like Rodney was saying, like, if you're already vibrating low, then everything you see is going to be like low vibrational stuff. So it's going to be hard for you to stop vibrating at a low without you literally taking the time to center yourself and causing yourself to focus on something different.
And I think for me with that, it's like when I'm in that mind state and I'm trying to get my mind to think on something positive, and I'm just in that space of I'm stagnant, right? I always just find that it can be something so simple, but it just makes me feel peaceful. My mind is just floating in the space of almost like meditate, but you're awake and you don't have to have your eyes closed. You just, you're just in a space of flowing. And I think I just find that one thing that just makes me feel at peace, and when I do, it's just like, all right, cool. And that brings me back to my center real quick, because I think all of us have those times throughout the days as to where it's almost like you can be feeling wonderful in the morning time, but then by 12 o'clock come, all right, you okay. Then maybe about 2 o'clock, you're like, yeah. And then you might go back up to your high. So it's always like a fluctuation a little bit, but just finding something to keep you at peace, whatever that is. Try to do that as much as possible.
I think a lot of times some of the issue too is that we looking for things outside of us to make us feel better.
That's very true.
So like he was saying about the vacation, like I can go on this vacation and feel good for a little bit, but that's something outside of me. When I get back home, I still gotta live with me and what I got going on the inside. So I feel like we gotta be happy with ourselves and love on ourselves, and not be looking for this and this to happen for me to feel good. Yeah. We never gonna win like that.
Agreed.
So, new beginnings. Like, what do you think about that now?
Well, I feel a lot different about it now. And I learned to put your mind on what you do want, which is what we say in every episode. But I think it definitely came through in this topic, because the only reason I was ever even afraid was because of all the negative thoughts that I was creating on my own. So the minute I put my mind on this is what I do prefer, or this is what I do want, then I don't even have to think about this possibility. And to always never be afraid of new beginnings, because it's just like a transformation period. I feel it's your growth and you should embrace it, but also know that you're connected to whatever you're about to grow into already. So it's not anything new really, it's just another version of you.
And I do want to make a comment, because a lot of times we can be in a place of fear to do something, and we'll do it anyway. When really, if you're in a state of fear, it might not be the best idea to do it anyway. Like, the best idea is to get yourself aligned first, because you're not, unless you're aligned, because that fear could really, the fear really is a message. It's a message to you, right? It's a message that you're not aligned. So getting aligned, once you get aligned, you might be able to hear that voice that says, okay, this is not for you, or this is not for you right now, or take a step back first. Like, it could be a reason why you're feeling the fear that's saying don't go, but you don't know if it's that, or if it's that you're just literally just afraid to make that step. You don't know. unless you're aligned. And once you're aligned, then you'll know, like, okay, is it safe to make this step right now? Is this a good time for this step right now? So that's really, you know, like I said, a lot of times I would feel the fear and I would just run forward anyway. And I feel like I pretty much had success with that. But what if you run forth anyway and really it was a message for you that, okay, if you go in there right now, that building about to blow up.
Right.
You know, but you didn't listen to your own
Right.
guidance. So, like I was saying, I don't think there's anything wrong with doing it that way, just running in, feeling the fear and doing it anyway. I don't think anything's wrong with that. But I think a better thing is to get in alignment first. And once you're in alignment, you're going to feel totally different about it. And you probably feel like, okay, now I can do this. But it's a chance that you'll get the message, like, not yet. So yeah, thank you. I like that topic.
Well, thank you guys.
And like you said, we do say the same exact thing every single week.
Yes.
Keep your attention on what you do want, not on what you don't want. It's happening for you, not to you. You get more of who you're being, not of what you want. So we just come at it at all different angles. Because Stephen just made a comment. He said that all of us go through these fluctuations. I'm not sure that that's true. And I want to guard us or warn us about doing the group thing. Like, we all do blame. Because then we'll feel like we're supposed to all do blame. I don't typically go through the fluctuations. There are times when, okay, this is happening, and then it causes me, you know, and then I'm out. And I might forget, okay, hop back in, I bet. And, you know, sometimes I need a reminder to hop back in, or sometimes I'm hopping out and I don't know how to hop back in because I'm so focused on this, you know, energy that's low, and that's all I can see. I can't see outside of that. And so sometimes I ask for help, like, you know, how can I see this differently? How can I look at this differently? Or whatever. But for the most part, you know, I used to always be here, and, you know, but now I'm always here. And then I might have a whoop. And I guess if you're not watching this video, you don't know what I just did with my hands.
It was quick though.
It was
Quick
real
drop down,
quick,
right back up.
But anyway, thank you so much for this topic. I hope you guys enjoy this topic as well, and you know, really taking a look at the fear before you're about to start something new, and just finding new ways of dealing with the fear, and, you know, just getting yourself aligned. And from that space, you'll know what to do. So thanks for joining us, and we look forward to talking to you again next week. Until then, this is Arvette.
And this is Steve.
Teron.
Rodney.
Bye, y'all.